I'm Ken Sandberg.
And I'm Heather Michelle Waller.
Welcome to Campfire Classics Live.
Ho ho merrily on high, it is the time of year for singing and going live, except it's live to tape, yeah. Gloria. Welcome to our home.
So welcome to Campfire Classics, where we try to read those books that look really good on your shelf.
Hey!
As promised in last week's episode, it is Christmas and we are going to tell you some ghost stories by the fire.
And as I told Ken when we were talking about this whole idea, I don't remember saying that in the last episode. I don't remember most of the things I say in the episode.
Yeah, so this is something that gets us in trouble frequently, is Heather promises things, and then it's my job to make sure they actually happen for you, the listener. So if you've been looking forward to this, you have her to thank for the idea and me to thank for the execution.
Hey!
You're welcome.
You're welcome. This is going to be an experiment. This is our fireplace, yes?
Yeah, I suppose we should actually, where's the...
Oh, we can change the colors.
No, I was going to say we should actually not start it until we're going to be reading the story.
Tradition. Yes. Yeah, so it is Christmas Day night.
Yep.
So Christmas is coming to an end, or whatever holiday you're celebrating today. We hope you all had a festive one.
Yeah, it was a good day here.
We had so much food. If I burp multiple times during this taping, I apologize, but it's a compliment to the chef.
And it won't get edited out because I don't know how to edit video.
Hey!
If you're listening to this audio only, there will probably be bits in this that are video, so sorry.
Well, that happens. My favorite podcast, which I talk about a lot on the show, they started doing video like a year and a half ago, and I didn't even realize they were doing video. And then there were like these moments where I'm like, "What? I don't understand." And then I realized that they had gone to a hybrid, like they still recorded like studio-wise, but they had a camera on them. Like,
don't worry.
And I was like,
I promise if we do anything really amazing on video, like this headstand that I'm doing right now.
yeah, wow, amazing.
That's really impressive. I will describe it to you, our listening audience, who are getting just the audio portion.
Are you drinking that bourbon upside down? That's amazing.
I've been practicing this particular move for weeks. I've been working on my handstands, my headstands, and my drunken circus tricks.
Drunken circus tricks. That's our next podcast.
Welcome to Drunken Circus Tricks with a new host every week, because you know what happens when you do circus tricks drunk?
Get hurt.
You die. So this is going to be a little bit of an unconventional episode, because we're not doing a lot of our regularly planned things because we didn't really know we were doing this.
Yeah, Ken, as we were cleaning up from Turkey, was like, we should record those things. I was like, what?
So this will be our first episode in weeks without a clown corner.
Even though I kind of got away from Clown Corner last with Santa Claus Corner.
Yeah.
So
I let it slide. We're going back to Clown Corner with the next time we record. Don't you worry. I got a clown picked out. We're all set.
Okay.
But the other thing that we're not going to be doing as we normally do is fun facts.
No fun facts for you.
Because we will be reading for you a couple of short stories by Mr. M.R. James, who we have read more than once on this podcast.
And if you remember...
you can hear fun facts about him on episode number something titled something, and episode number something else titled something else.
What you will remember maybe about M.R. James, if you're a loyal follower, if not, if you're new, this is your first episode. Wow, this is a weird one. M.R. James is responsible for the whole ghost story at Christmas thing, really. He's in the fun facts I did of him the very first time, they attribute him to making it popular. It had been a thing, but his stories became like, are you going to say Charles Dickens?
Well, no, I was going to say...
first.
No, well, Charles Dickens was before M.R. James, but also it had been going on since, like, the Celtic times.
Well, yes, I'm saying he, like, popularized it and, like, made it, like, he commercialized it. Okay, I'm sorry. Well, then I'm just going to shut up.
M.R. James is the Walt Disney of Christmas ghost stories.
So this week's episode, sponsored by The Mouse. If you'd like to contact us, you just let us know.
Sponsored by the House of Mouse, or in this case, the House of Rats. Because that is the title of the first story we're going to be reading
tonight.
That was
a good segue, baby.
Thank you. I'm really good at those sometimes, especially when I'm a couple of Maker's Marks deep.
Yeah, I'm almost at the bottom of my first bottle of red wine.
So tonight's first story is called Rats by M.R. James.
Rats.
And it was written in a year...
I think that is a compilation, so I don't know if they're all from the same year.
This was published in 1923, so it was written sometime before then.
Great. And I think, so the very first story we ever read of his was, I believe,
Wailing Well.
Was Wailing Well.
Yep. Also from this book.
Yeah. So fun story, because it's the holidays and it's all about family. My mother gave us this book when we were back because we started the podcast during COVID. She found this in our basement, like in my parents' basement, and was like, this looks like something that you might be able to use for this podcast thing you've started. And we were like, oh shit, yeah, this is great. And now we've read, like, this will be like our third or fourth story from it, so we love it. Are we getting to rats?
It's a good one. Rats.
I have a very fun outfit on. So here's a little story before we start rats, because Heather likes tangents. Hi, this is Heather here reporting on her fashion statement today. I'd like to just point it out. It looks really good on camera, actually. I'm kind of into it. Hello, TikTok, eat your heart out. He does love me, I promise.
I do. This is the kind of tangent that if we were just in the recording studio, might not make it to the final
See y'all? See what y'all missing out on? You write in and you say, we want more Heather Ridiculous.
But because I don't know how to edit video cleanly...
So she's loose, everyone!
This is what you're getting.
So I had on some green pants that are very comfy, that feel like pajamas, and a green top, and I was cooking.
I'll be over here.
And I was cooking, and I was like, why is there a draft in my crotch? And I put my hands down, and there's a giant hole in my crotch. I was like, when did that happen? Because the last time I wore those was at your show. I'm like, did that happen that night? And I didn't even notice it?
Might have. You could have been giving everyone a whole different show.
And I was like, did you not notice that? And he goes, no. I'm like, well, crap. So I'm like, well, now I'm in the middle of cooking, and I have to change. So I go and I try on a couple things. I'm like, I was really enjoying my kind of ridiculous Christmas outfit. And then I went, you know what? My new thing for the new year or from the holiday on or whatever, the renewal, the solstice thing is when things don't go as planned or things don't go as you thought they would, embrace the absurdity. So Ken gave me this. Where are you going?
Embracing the absurdity.
Yes! See? Embrace the absurdity. So Ken gave me this beautiful poncho for Christmas today. He did good, right? It's cute. It's super soft. And I was like, okay, I have that. Now what can I wear with that? And I was like, I have this see-through lace skirt that and I'm gonna put on some dance shorts with it, and I'm gonna put on knee-high socks. And look at this outfit, y'all.
I mean, it is pretty great.
It's pretty good. So anyway, if you catch some leg, I am wearing pants, technically.
Booty shorts.
Dance shorts.
Potato.
Rat, let's go! I'm done with my tangent. This is also his jacket from Buddy Holly.
Let's start this fire.
And this is upside down. Magic.
This is going to be awful for sound. I'm taking these off.
Oh yeah. Ding, ding, ding. We were just talking about bells. Rats by M.R. James. And this is a quote at the beginning. And if you was to walk through the bedrooms now, you'd see the ragged, moldy bedcloths a-heavin' and a-heavin' like seas. A-heavin' and a-heavin' with what, he says? Why, with the rats under them.
Oh, fuck no.
Ew! I'm gonna have trouble sleeping tonight.
No, we don't need
I don't
that.
like it.
No. Better than bed bugs.
Oh God, no! That's like my worst fear. I'm gonna be itchy for the rest of this episode. God damn. Okay. Won't this be fun, everybody? Merry Christmas. But what is it with the rats? Really, I ask. Because in another case, it was not. Yeah, it's not always rats.
No, sometimes it's
bed bugs. Sometimes it's Bigfoot. Oh no, I broke it. Oh, it's the same thing underneath. Why does it have a cover?
It's called a dust jacket.
Fancy ass people.
It's to protect it from dust.
And rats.
And rats.
All right, let's start this again. So I'm not going to read the quote again, but I'll do. But what is it with the rats? I ask, because in another case it was not. I cannot put a date to the story, but I was young when I heard it, and the teller was old. It is an ill-proportioned tale, but that is not... No, it is my fault, not his.
It is an ill-proportioned tale, but that is my fault,
not his. I, often tried to change the sentence.
Meaning of the story.
It happened in Suffolk. Oh, he's still there. Near the coast. In a place where the road makes a sudden dip and then a sudden rise as you go northward. At the top of that rise stands a house on the left of the road. You making a map?
Yeah.
It is a tall red brick house, narrow for its height. Perhaps it was built about 1770. The top of the house has a low triangular pediment with a round window in the center. Behind it are stables and offices, and such garden as it has is behind them. Scraggy Scotch firs are near it. An expanse of gauze-covered land stretches away from it. It commands a view of the distant sea from the upper windows at the front. A sign on a post stands before the door, or did so stand, for though it was an end of repute once, I believe it is no longer.
Ooh,
wait, was it a brothel?
End of ill repute.
It was a brothel. It was a
tall brick brothel.
Well, and as I posted on my Book of the Face today, a video that said, "You keep the Christ in Christmas, I keep the hoe in holidays."
Which is appropriate, because really, Christ doesn't go in Christmas, Christ goes in Christmas.
That's true.
Technically, hoe shouldn't go in holidays, hoe should go in holidays.
Don't talk about her hoes. Her holes. Holiday. I'm done.
The holy days.
The holy days.
The hoes go in the holy days. And Christ goes in Christ Mass. Or Christ Mas, which would be more Christ in Spanish.
This is what also usually gets cut out. I'm the weird one and he's the intellectual.
You're welcome.
Hello, everyone. Back to the story. We're at the House of Ill Repute.
I cut both of our best bits equally when I...
Yeah, he does. He does. He does a good job. To this inn came my acquaintance, Mr. Thompson.
Oh, I thought it was someone named My Acquaintance.
His name is Thompson, not my acquaintance. Don't get them confused.
Maya Thompson. Maya Acquaintance Thompson.
To this inn came my acquaintance, Mr. Thompson, when he was a young man on a fine spring day, coming from the University of Cambridge and desirous of solitude in tolerable quarters and time for reading. That sounds like you.
Yeah.
These he found, for the landlord and his wife had been in service and could make a visitor comfortable, and there was no one else staying at the inn. He had a large room in the first floor commanding the road and the view. And if it faced east, why, that could not be helped. The house was well built and warm.
Nobody wants a room facing east. The sun
Apparently.
comes through at morning.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And he wanted to be left alone to read. So that means he probably stays up late with some whiskey and a book. And yeah. No
And his hose.
Well, it's empty right now. The house is not of ill repute anymore.
Right now.
Yet. There's we got some rats coming. I don't know what's happening. He spent very tranquil.
He spent very taint-quill days.
I don't know what he was doing up there, but...
Up in the taint? Should I draw you a map?
Yes, please. Can you visualize that for our audience?
It's that one right there.
Okay. It's like where the hole was in my pants
Where the hole
when I
was
was
in your
cooking our
pants.
turkey dinner.
Oh, I just showed that I'm not nearly as classy as I look, because
He likes to make faces when I do stupid things, but there's a reason we've been together 7 years. He just hides it more than I do.
one of us has to be the straight man, or this show would go off the fucking rails.
True. Very true.
Read the book, Gracie.
If you get that reference, awesome.
You're probably too old to be listening to a podcast.
Well, our parents are listening.
Yeah.
My dad introduced. I think we talked about it on the podcast. Yeah. It was "Good night, Gracie" is the famous phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
George Burns and Gracie Allen.
Yeah, and Gracie's the clown, which was very progressive for the time. Ladies didn't get to be funny so much, but take what you gotta get. Okay.
Who are you?
Your love.
What's happening? Where am I?
You've been drinking it faster than I. He spent very tranquil and uneventful days. Work all the morning and afternoon.
Do your best. I don't have a thing here where I can look up
All
words.
I could see, and I know that's not what it is, and I can't actually say that this is not. I could say this is not the word I think it is, but I was going to say perineum. And that's definitely not that, which is another word for taint, isn't it?
Yeah. Perambulation.
Perambulation.
Walking around.
Yes.
Perambulation is walking around.
Yes, but my brain went to perineum.
Perineum.
His afternoon perineum in the country. It's
Sure.
It's a word for your taint, because when you're doing yoga, they want you to lift your perineum. It's like the actual word for your butt your. Anyway, all you yogis understand.
Great. I believe you.
It's a nice way to say lift your asshole off the ground. An afternoon perambulum and perambulation. Working all morning and afternoon perambulation of the country round. A little conversation with country company or the people of the inn in the evening over then fashionable drinks of brandy and water. A little more reading and writing and bed. And he would have been content with this should have it continued for a full month had he the disposal. So if he had enough money, he would have been all of it. So well was his work progressing, and so fine was the April of that year, which I have reason to believe was that which Orlando Whistlecraft chronicles in his weather record of the charming year. Who the fuck is Orlando Whistlecraft? That's like the original Joe Winters.
He's the guy who
weather
records
guy.
everything for the Farmer's Almanac.
Yeah.
He records what the weather's been doing.
Listen to his name. It's because you know how all local weathermen have the stupidest names. It's
Johnny Stormfront.
The guy in Iowa City or in eastern Iowa is Joe Winters.
Yeah.
And it's that's not your name.
Carolyn Tempest.
Orlando Whistlecraft.
Bullshit.
I call bullshit. But anyway, apparently this was a really good year. And so Mr. Thompson would have been really happy if he could afford to stay. One of his walks took him along the northern road, which stands high and traverses a wide common called a heath. Oh, I like that they did the whole description and definition for us. On the bright afternoon when he first chose this direction, his eye caught a white object some 100 yards to the left of the road, and he felt it necessary to make sure what this might be. It was not long before he was standing by it and found himself looking at a square block of white stone fashioned somewhat like the base of a pillar, with a square hole in the upper surface. I think it's a ancient glory hole.
So, back in the day, they had square penises?
No, they just didn't have the tools for the circular carving.
The circle hadn't been invented yet.
Yeah, the wheel! Yeah, they didn't have the wheel yet. That's it. It's an ancient glory hole. Are you regretting these choices we've made?
I hate this show. I'm sorry.
I want to point out he was the one that said, we're gonna do this. You know what I'm like when I go rogue. What's going on? Just such another you may see at this day on Thetford Heath. Apparently Thetford Heath is like a dirty glory hole place. After taking stock of it...
glory holes.
Cubist glory holes. It's like alien... Well, it's like Stonehenge. It's like, where did it come from? Why? Why are they square shaped?
This is what you get if you unleash Picasso in a men's room.
There you go. It's a Picasso glory hole.
Glory holes.
There you go. You figured it out. Even though this was written before Picasso. So, well, same time.
Picasso's only barely cubist, but...
Yeah, but, it's all good. All right, so you may see this on Thetford Heath, whatever that is. After taking stock of it, he contemplated for a few minutes the view, which offered a church tower or two, some red roofs of cottages and windows winking in the sun, and the expanse of sea also, with the occasional wink and gleam upon it, and so perused his way. Or are you just stretching your jaw?
I was demonstrating a wink.
Oh, okay. Oh, you were.
I told you, there are visual components to this episode.
Okay, I thought you were having a stroke or something.
No, I was having a moment, just me and the audience. Don't worry about it.
I'll just be over here reading the story. It's okay. Wink away, baby.
God damn it.
In the delusatory evening talk in the bar, he asked why the white stone was there on the common. An old-fashioned thing, that is, said the landlord, Mr. Betts. He was none of us alive when that was put there. That's right, said another. It stands pretty high, said Mr. Thompson. Oh, wait, that's our main guy. I don't want that to be his voice. That's right. No. That's right, said another. It stands pretty high, said Mr. Thompson. I dare say a sea mark was on it some time back. Ah, yes, Mr. Betts agreed. I'd have heard they could see it from the boats, but whatever there was, it fell to bits a long time. Good job, too, said the third. 'Tweren't a lucky mark. Oh, apparently this guy's Irish.
Great.
'Tweren't a lucky mark, but what the old man used to say, not lucky for the fishing, I mean to say. Why ever not, said Thompson. Well, if I never see it myself I never seen it myself was the answer, but they had some funny ideas, peculiar, them old chaps, and I shouldn't wonder, but they...
This is going well, keep going.
I just saw you looking the camera around.
You just veered hard into Monty Python, but I was enjoying it. That was a bit peculiar, know what I mean?
It's written in dialect, so what are you gonna do?
Monty Python.
Monty Python? Alright, so, I never seen it myself was the answer, but they had some funny ideas, peculiar, them old chaps, and I shouldn't wonder but what they made away with it themselves. It wasn't possible to get anything clearer than this. Oh no, they've been
Oh, good.
drinking
So
a
even
lot.
he didn't understand.
No.
Great.
So that wasn't supposed to make sense for anyone. So especially Heather, who just did 5 different voices in that one paragraph. It was not separated by people. It wasn't possible to get anything clearer than this. The company, never very voluble, fell silent, and when next someone spoke, it was Village Affairs and Crops. Mr. Betts was the speaker. Not every day did Thompson consult his health by taking a country walk. One very fine afternoon, One very fine afternoon found him busily writing at 3 o'clock. Then he stretched himself and rose and walked out of his room into the passage. Facing him was another room, then the stairhead, then 2 more rooms, one looking out of the back, the other to the south. At the south end of the passage was a window, to which he went, considering with himself that it was rather a shame to waste such a fine afternoon. However, work was paramount just at the moment, he thought. He would take just 5 minutes off and go back to it, and then 5 minutes he would employ. The Bettses could not possibly object to looking at the other rooms in the passage. So he's like, I'm going to explore this house because I need a break. He's like, the weather's nice, so I should go outside. No, I'm not going to go outside. I'm just going to explore this creepy house. Okay. And the landlord it'll be fine. Nobody at all, it seemed, was indoors, probably as it was market day. They were all gone to town, except perhaps a maid in the bar. Very still the house was, and the sun shone really hot. Early flies buzzed in the window panes. So he explored. The room facing his own was undistinguished except for an old print of Bury St. Edmunds. I've been there. Bury St. Edmunds is where we used to go when my parents were like going to treat us because we were kids, and it was like a probably 25-minute drive from the village we lived in. They would drive us, and because it was the only town that had a McDonald's.
I'm guessing the McDonald's was not part of the image.
Probably not, but there's a beautiful cathedral there as well. But Bury St. Edmunds is like, I know it very well, let's just say. There was shopping there and the McDonald's. So a 9-year-old girl who grew up in the South until this moment was like, I want a Happy Meal. It really was. Sorry. Tangent. Hi, Mom and Dad. Thanks for the McDonald's. The 2 next to him on his side of the passage were gay and clean. That's good. With 1 window apiece, whereas he had 2. Wait, did I turn it right? Yes, I did. Okay. We're gay and clean. The page term was on gay and clean. I got very distracted. Gay and clean, with 1 window apiece, whereas his had 2. Remained the southwest room opposite to the last which he had entered. This was locked. It's never good if it's locked. Don't go. He's going to try and get in.
Or it's very good. It's more interesting if it's locked.
Yes, it's more interesting. It's good literature. This was locked, but Thompson was in the mood of quite indefensible curiosity and feeling confident that there would be no damaging secrets in a place so easily got at. He proceeded to fetch the key of his own room, and when that did not answer, to collect the keys of the other 3. One of them fitted, and he opened the door. I love that he just like went down to the
desk and snagged all the. Sure.
Yeah, sounds great. Like, it's fine. No one's staying in here. It's not important. There's no reason this door is locked in this creepy old house. Next to the square glory holes. The room had 2 windows looking south and west, so it was as bright and the sun as hot upon it as could be. Here there was no carpet, but bare boards, no pictures, no washstand, only a bed. In the farther corner, an iron bed. Ooh.
And kinky.
Yeah, I was like an iron cross. Because there's a bed and an iron bed? It's 2?
Sure.
Maybe it's a family room. It's like the cot. The iron bed is the cot that you put out for the kids. I don't know. With mattress and bolster, covered with a bluish check counterpane. As featureless a room as you can well imagine, and yet there was something that made Thompson close the door very quickly and yet quietly behind him and lean against the windowsill in the passage, actually quivering all over. Uh-oh. That's when you leave. You just unlocked a creepy door by stealing keys, and it
Just lock it back up and go away.
Just standing in there makes you like not feel good. That's when you go.
Just lock it back up and go away. It's that simple. Just lock it back up and go away.
Like we said, good literature, right? Okay. Yeah. All right, so he's shivering all over. No, sorry, quivering all over.
Ooh.
That's a very different word. It was this, that under the counterpane someone lay. Ew! What? Whoa, that took a turn, and we did not start a new paragraph. It was, oh my god. I was quivering all over all of a sudden, okay. It was this, that under the counterpane someone lay, and not only lay, but stirred. That it was someone and not something was certain, because the shape of a head was unmistakable on the bolster. And yet it was all covered, and no one lies with covered head but a dead person.
It's not true.
I mean, you gotta keep.
I stick my head under the blankets all the time.
Well, apparently it's sunny. Apparently it's sunny. I don't know, but it's hot in there. So, like, anyway, we're gonna find out. And this was not dead, for this was not dead, not truly dead, for it heaved and shivered. If he had seen these things in dusk or by the light of a flickering candle, Thompson could have comforted himself and talked of fancy. So if it was like at night, like, oh,
I'm imagining things.
Oh, silly me in the dark. But it's like fucking middle of the day. It's like, didn't even start drinking yet today. On this bright day, that was impossible. What was to be done? First, lock the door at all costs. Very gingerly, he approached it and bending down, listened, holding his breath. Perhaps there might be a sound of heavy breathing and a prosaic explanation. There was absolute silence. But, as with a rather tremulous hand, he put the key into its hole and turned it, it rattled, and on the instant a stumbling, paddling tread was heard coming through. That scared the shit out of me!
Yes, I know.
Oh my god!
Sometimes houses make sounds.
It was the perfect timing! See, we don't need editing. That was terrifying. Holy fuck, did y'all hear that on the thing? I hope that picked up. Oh. A sudden paddling tread was heard. I mean, come on. That was amazing. Whew, I'm sweating. Okay, paddling tread was heard coming towards the door. Thompson fled like a rabbit to his room and locked himself in. Futile enough, he knew it was. Would doors and locks be any obstacle to what he suspected? But it was all he could think of at the moment, and in fact, nothing happened. Only there was a time of acute suspense, followed by a misery of doubt as of what to do. The impulse, of course, was to slip away as soon as possible from a house which contained such an inmate. Like, really, it's like, I'm getting the fuck out of Dodge right now. But only the day before, he had said he should be staying for at least a week more. And how, if he changed his plans, could he avoid the suspicion of having pried into places where he certainly had no business? Moreover, either the Bettses knew all about this inmate and yet did not leave the house, or knew nothing, which equally meant that there was nothing to be afraid of, or knew just enough to make them shut up the room, but not enough to weigh on their spirits. In any case, it seemed that not much was to be feared, and certainly so far, he had no sort of ugly experience. Okay, so basically he's like, okay.
He's rationalizing his way out of his fear. That's all that's happening.
This is fucked up. but if I hadn't gone in there, I'd have nothing to be afraid of. The Betzes seem cool. They have people staying here. They got the bar open. Like, so if even if they know that thing's in there, they know that if it's locked, it's not gonna fuck with anyone.
And if they don't know it's in there, it means they haven't had any problems
They
with
haven't.
it yet.
No, it's just it's minding its own business. All right, cool. On the whole, the line of least resistance was to stay. What a good British gentleman.
I always make my decisions based on what is laziest.
I think he just didn't want to deal with the questions because he's a good British man. It's like, I don't want to upset anyone. Oh dear. I'm gonna burp. I knew it was happening. I love how I said I'm gonna burp after I burped. I'm gonna have a drink.
And then you covered your mouth after you had burped. Which is the most useful time to do that.
Well, he stayed out his week. Nothing took him past that door, and often as he would pause in a quiet hour of day or night in the passage and listen, no sound whatsoever issued from that direction. You might have thought that Thompson would have made some attempt at ferreting out stories connected with the end, perhaps from Betts, but from the person of the parish or old people in the village, but no. The reticence which commonly falls on people who have had strange experiences and believe in them was upon him. Nevertheless, as the end of his stay drew near, his yearning after some kind of explanation grew more and more acute. On his solitary walks, he persisted in planning out some way, the least obtrusive, of getting another daylight glimpse into that room, and eventually arrived at this scheme. He would leave by an afternoon train, about 4 o'clock. When his fly was about... I was like, what's he going to do with his fly? When his fly was waiting...
Fly was down.
When his fly was waiting, so I guess that's his carriage?
Yes.
Okay. Never heard that term. When his fly was waiting and his
Yes,
luggage
you have,
on
because
it...
we've used it on the podcast before.
I told you, I don't remember anything we do on the podcast.
I don't listen when you're reading.
I'm in the
or
moment.
when I'm reading.
I'm in the moment, and then it goes this way. It's like, bye. I told you I'm a visual learner. If I don't see it on the page, it like goes.
Well, hopefully you'll remember this.
I might remember this story. Good times.
You can come back and watch it if you.
I can. I can be like,
be all
wow.
visual about it.
I need to take some Ritalin. When his fly was waiting and his luggage on it, he would make one last expedition upstairs to look round his own room and see if anything was left unpacked, and then, with that key, which he had contrived to oil, if that would make any difference, the door should once more be opened for a moment and shut. So it worked out. The bill was paid, the consequent small talk gone through while the fly was loaded. Pleasant parts of the country, been very comfortable. Thank you to you and Mr. Betts. Hope to come back sometimes. Yada yada, one another. It doesn't say yada yada, but that's basically what he's doing. On the other side and the other. Very glad you found your satisfaction, sir. Well done. Yes, always glad to have you over your word.
Toss.
I mean, it is really like very much favored. Wish you the weather well, to be sure. Yada yada. Then. Oh, I'll just have a look upstairs in case I've left a book or something out. No, don't trouble. I'll be back in a minute. And as noiselessly as possible, he stole to the door and opened it. The shattering of the illusion. He almost laughed aloud. Propped, or might say sitting on the edge of the bed, was nothing in the round world but a scarecrow. A scarecrow out of the garden, of course, dumped into a deserted room. Yes, but here amusement ceased. Have scarecrows bare, bony feet? Do their heads loll onto their shoulders? Have they iron collars and links of chains about their neck? Can they get up and move? If never so stiffly across the floor, with wagging head and arms close at their side and shiver?
Yeah, dude, that's not a scarecrow.
Ew!
That's a sex slave.
The iron bed.
The iron bed.
The slam of the door, the dash of the stairhead, the leap downstairs were followed by a faint awakening. Thompson saw Betts standing over him with a brandy bottle and a very reproachful face. "You shouldn't have done so, sir. You really shouldn't. It ain't a kind of way to act by persons as done the best they could for you." Thompson heard words of his kind, but what he said in reply he did not know. Mr. Betts, and perhaps even more, Mrs. Betts, found it hard to accept his apologies and his assurances that he would say no word that could damage the good name of the house. However, they were accepted. Since the train could not now be caught, it was arranged that Thompson should be driven to town to sleep there. Before he went, the Bettses told him what little they knew. They said he was landlord here a long time back, and it was in with the highwaymen that had their beat about the earth. That's how he come by his inn. Hung in the chains, they say, up where you see that stone where the galleys stood in. Yes, the fishermen made away with that, I believe, because they see it out on the sea and they kept the fish off according to their ideas. Yes, we had the account from the people that had the house before we come. You keep that room shut up, they says, but don't move the bed out, or you'll find there won't be no trouble. And no more than that, and no more there has been. Not once we haven't come out into the house through what he may do. This is very hard to read. You keep that room shut up, they says, but don't move the bed out, and you'll find there won't be no trouble. And no more there has been. Not once he haven't come out into the house, though what he may do now there ain't no saying. Anyway, you're the first to know on that, seen him since we've been here. I never set eyes on him myself, nor do I want. And ever since we've made the servants' rooms in the stabling, we ain't had no difficulty that way. Only I do hope, sir, that you'll keep a close tongue, considering now a house you get talked about with more to this effect. So basically, shut your mouth or we're going to get a bad reputation.
Yep.
The promise of silence was kept for many years. The occasion of my hearing the story at last was this, that when Mr. Thompson came to stay with my father, it fell to me to show him to this room. And instead of letting me open the door for him, he stepped forward and threw it open himself, and then for some moments stood in the doorway holding up his candle and looking narrowly into the interior. Then he seemed to recollect himself and said, "I beg your pardon. Very absurd, but I can't help doing that for a peculiar reason." What that reason was I heard some days afterwards, and you have heard now.
Creepy.
Wait, did he just throw himself into the room?
No. So he came to stay, the guy who's actually telling the story. He came to stay with, at his, the inn that his dad ran.
Yeah.
Which was a different one from the one where he found the body.
Yeah.
And he came in and he was like, the young guy who's telling the story was sent to open the door for him, and instead he opened the door himself, threw the door open, and was like, "I'm sorry, this is a habit I have. I always have to open these doors. Let me tell you why." And then told him the story
so gross.
of not rats.
That wasn't rats. Why the fucking rats? That was such a I was waiting for rats to be eating this guy or some shit.
Nope.
Ew. I was also waiting for the Bettses to be in on it. These are the people that go into the rooms they're not supposed to, and then we chain them up and they become like half-eaten people and shit.
Yeah.
We actually ended up reading the story we talked about not reading, so that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. The transition worked.
It did.
From House of Mouse to Rats.
It sure did. I realized that not until the very end.
Yeah.
And I went, wait, oh yes, cool.
Yeah, I think we were looking at.
We're gonna do those two.
This one was the shorter one, and this one is the middle one, and then Rats was the longer of the
All
three.
right. Well, we're at 45 minutes, so I'm gonna drink a little wine.
Great. I was not prepared for a sentence to cut off like that.
And then I'm going to tell you which story you're reading.
Woohoo!
I guess you get to pick now. Do you want the short one
you
or the
get
middle
to pick
one?
because you're picking for me. That's how this works.
All right, listeners.
Let me explain to you how this podcast works.
What? We're doing a podcast?
What?
Where am I?
Who am I?
Ah!
Why am I wearing clothes?
Why am I wearing this sexy outfit? Hose and holidays.
For our audio-only listeners, there was a delightful little dance routine that you just missed.
Was it delightful?
I delighted. Quick. Dead air is not interesting to listen to. If you sit and listen, I have to
Oh my
keep
god,
talking.
I'm terrified. Eeny,
meeny, miny, moe, go.
After dark in the playing fields.
Fabulous.
It is the story directly after Rats. So I'm just gonna turn. There we go, and there's a kitty cat. You can't see it. She's over there. Hi, baby.
After Dark in the Playing Fields by M.R. James. The hour was late and the night was fair. I had halted not far from Sheep's Bridge and was thinking about the stillness only broken by the sound of the weir when a loud, tremulous hoot just above me made me jump.
Hoot.
It is always annoying to be startled, but
Yes, thank you.
I have a kindness for owls. This one was evidently very near. I looked about for it. There it was, sitting plumply on a branch about 12 feet up. I pointed my stick at it and said, "Was that you?"
Yes. I played an owl in a play we did. And
"Drop it," said the owl.
What? Oh, it's a talking owl.
"I know it ain't only a stick, but I don't like it." "Yes, of course it was me. Who do you suppose it would be if it weren't?"
What? I was not expecting the owl to talk in this story.
We will take as read the sentences about my surprise. I lowered the stick. "Well," said the owl, "how about it? If you will come out here of a midsummer evening like what this is, what do you expect?" "I beg your pardon," I said. "I should have remembered. May I say that I think myself very lucky to have met you tonight. I hope you have time for a little talk." "Well," said the owl ungraciously, "I don't know as it matters so particular tonight. I've had me supper as it happens, and if you ain't too long over it,
Oh.
Suddenly, it broke into a loud scream, flapped its wings furiously, bent forward, and clutched its perch tightly, continuing to scream. Plainly, something was pulling hard at it from behind.
Oh, did someone stick a pole up this owl's butt? And was
No,
like,
someone is trying to pull a pole out of its butt.
Oh, okay. Okay. I don't have that experience.
It says something was pulling hard at it.
Yes,
from
that's what I'm saying.
behind.
Did
Pulling.
someone put it up and now they're trying to pull it out?
Oh, could
That's what I
be that,
meant.
yeah.
Like they're puppeting the owl.
Someone's puppeting the owl,
Yeah.
yeah. Pulling behind. The strain relaxed abruptly. The owl nearly fell over and then whipped round, ruffling up all over, and made a vicious dab at something unseen by me. "Oh, I am sorry," said a small, clear voice in a solicitous tone. "I made sure it was loose. I do hope I didn't hurt you." "Didn't hurt me," said the owl bitterly. "Of course you hurt me, and well you know it, you young infidel. That
feather was no more loose than, oh, if I could get at you, now I shouldn't wonder but what you've thrown me all out of balance. Why can't you let a person sit quiet for 2 minutes at a time without you must come creeping up and, well, you've done it this time anyway. I shall straight to headquarters and, finding it was now addressing the empty air, why, where have you got to now? Oh, it is too bad that it is.
Dear me, I said. I'm afraid this isn't the first time you've been annoyed in this way. May I ask exactly what happened?
I feel like we're in like a weird chapter of Bedknobs and Broomsticks that got cut.
Kinda, it feels that way a bit.
Like, this man is not disturbed that there's a talking owl and someone else manipulating said owl at all.
Pulling a tail feather out by the
At
sound
all.
of it, yeah.
Yes, you may ask, said the owl, still looking narrowly about as it spoke, but it'd take me till the latter end of next week to tell you. Fancy coming and pulling out anyone's tail feather. Hurt me something cruel it did, and what for, I should like to know. Answer me that. Where's the reason of it?
All that occurred to me was to murmur, the clamorous owl that nightly hoots and wonders at our quaint spirits. I hardly thought the point would be taken, but the owl said sharply,
What's that? Yes, you needn't repeat it, I heard. And I'll tell you what's at the bottom of it, and you mark my words.
It bent toward me and whispered with many nods of its round head,
Pride. Standoffishness. That's what it is. Come not near me, our fairy queen.
this in a tone of bitter contempt.
Oh dear, no, we ain't good enough for the likes of them. Us that's been noted time out of mind for the best singers in the fields, now ain't that so?
Well, I said, doubtfully enough, I like to hear you very much, but you know, some people think a lot of the thrushes and nightingales and so on. You must have heard of that, haven't you? And then perhaps, of course I don't know, perhaps your style of singing isn't exactly what they think suitable to accompany their dancing, eh?
I should kindly hope not, said the owl, drawing himself up. Our families never give in to dancing, nor never won't neither. Why, whatever are you thinking of?
It went on with rising temper.
A pretty thing it would be for me to sit here hiccuping at them.
It stopped and looked cautiously all round it and up and down and then continued in a lower voice.
Then, little ladies and gentlemen, if it ain't suitable for them, I'm very sure it ain't suitable for me. And, temporizing again, if they expect me never to say a word just because they're dancing and carrying on with their foolishness, they're very much mistook, and so I tell 'em.
This owl's definitely a Republican. He's like, why can these people have fun all the time and be gay and happy, but like, I can't just like live my business. Why can't everyone just make their own choices? Except them.
Just me.
Just me.
From what had passed before, I was afraid this was an imprudent line to take, and I was right. Hardly had the owl given its last emphatic nod when 4 small slim forms dropped from a bough above, and in a twinkling some sort of grass rope was thrown round the body of the unhappy bird, and it was borne off through the air, loudly protesting in the direction of Fellow's Pond. Splashes and gurgles and shrieks of unfeeling laughter were heard as I hurried up. Something darted away over my head, and as I stood peering over the bank of the pond, which was all in commotion, a very angry and disheveled owl scrambled heavily up the bank, and stopping near my feet, shook itself and flapped and hissed for several minutes without saying anything I should care to repeat.
So that owl's swearing like a motherfucker. He's doing the Bob Hoskins, or not Bob Hoskins, Joe Pesci from
In Home Alone, yeah.
Yeah. Also, I love that 4 fairies just lassoed an owl and threw him in the water.
Sure, why not?
He's talking shit about them.
Glaring at me, it eventually said, and the grim, suppressed rage in its voice was such that I hastily drew back a step or two.
Hear that? Said they was very sorry, but they'd mistook me for a duck. Oh, if it ain't enough to make anyone go regular distracted in their mind and tear everything to flinders for miles round.
So carried away was it by passion that it began to process at once by rooting up a large beakful of grass, which, alas, got into its throat, and the choking that resulted made me really afraid that it would break a vessel. But the paroxysm was mastered, and the owl sat up, winking and breathless, but intact.
Yeah, I feel like this owl definitely is like a spokesperson for Fox News or something. It's like, I'm getting very angry about everything!
It's Joe
Tucker
Pesci
Carlson.
as what's his name in Harry, right?
Harry?
In Home Alone?
Oh.
Is that
And,
his-
yeah, it's Joe Pesci. No, he's not Harry. The other one's Harry.
What's his
Joe
name?
Pesci's...
Marv?
Marv. Marv is the
Marv and
different
Harry.
one. It's Harry. He is
He is
Harry.
Harry, yeah.
Wait. Yeah, he is. Marv's the dumb one. Yeah.
Some expression of sympathy seemed to be required, yet I was chary of offering it, for in its present state of mind I felt that the bird might interpret the best meant phrase as a fresh insult. So we stood looking at each other without speech for a very awkward minute, and then came a diversion.
Uh-oh.
First the thin voice of the pavilion clock, then the deeper sound of the castle quadrangle, then Lupton's tower, drowning the curfew tower by its nearness.
What's that?
Said the owl suddenly and hoarsely.
Midnight, I should think.
Nope. Midnight, I should think, said I, and had recourse to my watch.
Midnight?
Cried the owl, evidently much startled.
Oh no, the fairy godmother's gonna get mad!
And me too wet to fly a yard.
Oh,
Here, you pick me up and put me in the tree. Don't, I'll climb up your leg and you won't ask me to do that twice. Quick now.
Sounds fun.
I obeyed. Which tree do you want?
Why, my tree, to be sure, over there.
It nodded towards the wall. All right, Bad Kelk's tree, do you mean?
This is what happens when the technology is full, and that was seamless, right? I was drinking this before.
Super smooth transition.
Back to the owl.
Yeah.
Back to Joe Pesci owl.
The iPad ran out of memory.
Yeah, it happens. We were just too entertaining, and it was like, too much!
And we're back. Where is it? Curfew Tower, quick now. Ah! All right, Bad Kelk's tree, do you mean? I said, beginning to run in that direction.
How should I know what silly names you call it? The one what has, like, a door in it? Go faster, they'll be coming in another minute.
That's where the Keebler elves are.
Who? What's the matter? I asked as I ran, clutching the wet creature, and much afraid of stumbling and coming over with it in the long grass.
You'll see fast enough,
Said this selfish bird.
You just let me get on that tree. I shall be all right.
And I suppose it was, for it scrambled very quickly up the trunk with its wings spread, then disappeared in a hollow without a word of thanks. I looked round, not very comfortably. The curfew tower was still playing St. David's tune and the little chime that follows, for the third and last time. But the other bells had finished what they had to say, and now there was silence, and again the restless, changing weir was the only thing that broke. No, that emphasized it. Why had the owl been so anxious to get into hiding? That, of course, was what now exercised me. Whatever and whoever was coming, I was sure that this was no time for me to cross the open field. I should do best to dissemble any presence by staying on the darker side of the tree. And that is what I did.
And that was where I fucked up.
All of this took place some years ago, before summertime came in. I do sometimes go into the playing field at night still, but I come in before true midnight. And I find I do not like a crowd after dark. For example, at the 4th of June fireworks, you see...
4th of June?
You do not, but I see such curious faces, and the people to whom they belong flit about so oddly, often at your elbow when you least expect it, and looking close into your face as if they were searching for someone who may be thankful, I think, if they do not find him. Where do they come from? Why, some, I think, out of the water, and some out of the ground. They look like that. But I am sure it is best to take no notice of them, and not to touch them. Yes, I certainly prefer the daylight population of the playing fields to that which comes there after dark.
What?
Our narrator was tripping balls.
acid. I was
night.
gonna say, I was like, so acid? LSD much? He tripped acid with a friend and got separated from the friend and then was like, oh shit, there's a talking owl. I gotta fucking deal with this shit. Oh my god, there's fairies. And then I'm just gonna hide behind this tree. And he hid behind that tree until he probably fell asleep for a while. And then woke up and was like, oh, I can go now. And he's still tripping a little bit because like when you're tripping acid, it takes a while. And it's like, I don't know why I know that. And then you and then...
Just remember, I'm not editing anything out of this.
I know you're not. And then I have no secrets. And then he was like, oh, I should get home. And you like time kind of disappears in that moment. So you're kind of like, oh, it's like 5 minutes. Everything seems cool. I'm gonna go back to the hotel now. That one was weird.
That was a strange one.
I was not ready for that to be a weird, trippy fairy tale.
I enjoyed that one. That was a
fun.
fun story.
That was very out of the M.R. James world. It felt more like a...
You know what it kind of felt like was Imaginary Friends.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As a play we did at theater in grad school, which was a Terry Brooks, based on a Terry Brooks story.
Yeah.
Imaginary
Friends is the Terry Brooks story. The play was called The Secret of Courage.
Secret of Courage, but yes. Yeah. Like, very much so, except, like, because I was the out. So at the beginning when I was being an annoying, like, asshole, that was me actually doing a character that was my character in that play.
She was just playing a character of an annoying asshole.
I'm a good actor.
So what'd you think of that one, listeners? What'd you think of that one, viewers?
How you doing? How you doing?
I had fun with it. Did you have fun with it?
That's fun, actually.
I like that one.
I'm into that.
Silly. It was schlappy.
Well, now that we have this space,
Hey.
we could do this more if people like it.
So, audience, write in and let us know. Write in to 5050artsproduction@gmail.com or any of our social medias. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter and
Google Campfire Classics podcast and it will
Campfire
take you anywhere you need to go.
and let us know what you thought about those stories, what you think about M.R. James, and perhaps most importantly, what you think of this setup. whether you are watching or listening to us have to do this mostly unedited. We did have one moment about 6 minutes and 50 seconds ago when the camera cut out because it ran out of storage space because I didn't clear enough storage space before we started recording.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
I do that all the time.
So mostly unedited, except for that. Did you enjoy this audio in its totally raw form? Did you enjoy this video?
Did you enjoy us in our raw form?
let us know what you thought. Let us know if you want more of this. Let us know if you hope never to see this again. And whatever your opinion, please do share it with us. And when you write in, include this week's secret passcode, which is Cubist Glory Hole.
Cubist Glory Hole!
That's your mission.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year!
Anything else?
Nah, I'm good.
Great. On that note, this has been Campfire Classics, where we try to read those books that look really good on your shelf.
Should all acquaintance be forgot, they will be when I finish this wine!
Oh yeah. Also, Happy New Year.
See you in 2023.